I think post-lunch, definitely you must be feeling, a lot of sleepy. But let's create some excitement because the markets are very excited, right? Post-pandemic, we have seen good recovery across the markets. We were leading actually the global markets in India. If you look at US 2021, 22, they were languishing, but we had a very good time, right? And the government impetus on the economy also is very clearly seen. The expenditure we had not seen before, which is now putting in the economy, right? So there are many sectors which were not there in the last decade. They are coming up. And that's a huge opportunity going forward. Volatility will keep on coming. So recently what we are seeing in the markets because of the geopolitical scenario, so those kind of declines will keep on coming, but in those falls for the coming years, we feel we need to create in our investment into those sectors, and that will create wealth. So let us see some of the improving trends now in the market. So I don't have many slides, possibly in 2-3 slides, I will summarize what I want to say today. If you look at here, historically, we have seen that whenever markets have made the top, FIIs are overloaded because they were the first guys actually who started booking profits. This time, FIIs are underinvested in the equities market. They used to have 21% of holding in equities generally, but now they have close to 15.5% of equity in the Indian markets. So when we had a good capex story, capex rally in the last couple of years, and the PSU stocks were participating, we did not see the FIIs coming in actually in that period, so they missed out the bus, it looks like. So what I mean to say here is that there is a lot of cushion in the markets. Because when this money is going to come, obviously you will have a much higher drive, not only on the indices, but also in various sectors now going forward. There may be a consolidation period, there may be a time correction because of the geopolitical scenarios outside. We don't have any control on it, but we can always look what's happening inside India and try to create those kind of wealth through our investment. Now see what happened. It did not happen before. We always used to import crude from outside, and whatever amount was coming, we were paying in dollars. So Forex from India was going outside and the crude was coming in India because 85% of the total imported crude, actually that requirement is there in India. So if you see what happened in the volatility of 2022, in the month of Feb, we saw Ukraine war erupted. And that time, India started taking crude from Russia. Russia had sanctions, so they were giving at a discount. The discount was big actually that time. It was almost $25, $30 per barrel. Till February 2024, this discount was $8 per barrel. Even currently, it is around $3 to $4 per barrel. So that means India has saved minimum, I am saying minimum, 1 lakh crore, maybe close to $11-12 billion. And it has gone, as per estimates, to $25 billion also. That means almost 2 lakh crores. Some big schemes in India generally are announced by the government, like Nal Se Jal, so many welfare schemes, and the expenditure is 50,000 crore, 1 lakh crore. When you have saved 2 lakh crore, that means now you have a leeway, you have a cushion to spend this money in the economy. So your foreign policy is benefiting you so that you can spend in India. So this is something big from the political front which happened, and it really benefited India. If you look at the outside investors now, for example, Temasek from Singapore, they are doubling their investment in Indian markets. They had 3% of investment, now they are moving to 6% investment. It is not happening only from Singapore. I have one point here of US pension fund. US pension fund had not come and put money in Indian markets before. It was more in the developed markets. But see the irony now, they are looking to have better returns in a stable environment. A stable environment, because this is what the platform Indian economy has placed now outside. Our bond yields have not increased. In the last 3 years, if you see, our macros have become so strong. Our government is spending 10 lakh crore, 11 lakh crore, but from where this money is coming? Generally, in the previous years, the government always used to go in the debt market, they always used to borrow high, and they were floating papers. So the bond yields used to go higher. But this time it has not happened. The bond yields are continuously lower because the government borrowing has remained flat for the last 3 years, despite unprecedented 11 lakh crore of expenditure in the Indian economy. And why it has happened? The first point was already discussed, that they saved 2 lakh crore from Russian imported crude, but the GST numbers, the direct tax numbers, they are also improving because of the compliance from the government. So this is where even the US pension fund decided the economy where the bond yields are not rising, economy where the bonds now are listed on the JP Morgan bond index, why shouldn't we start investing in the equity market also of that economy? And that's why first time it happened that they tweaked their benchmark, US pension fund, so that they can put more money in the emerging markets, and that is towards India. So this is a big positive. Easily 40-50,000 crore every year is going to come through this route at least, right? Now see from the manufacturing front, iPhone by 2027, 50% of their total manufacturing they are going to start now from India. Now what we are looking for is the value addition. Because so far we are doing assembly of the phones. Now iPhone 16 Pro is also going to be launched. And that is where if the critical component manufacturing starts, and it will start, some people, some critics, they say that we are only doing assembly. Boss, first of all, the base work has to start. Then the value addition start. And then you start getting better margins. So we are into that particular move right now. And that is where, if you look at what's happening in India, the orders are flowing from the OEMs to the vendors to the small and medium enterprises. So if iPhone is manufacturing phone, ultimately they will have sourcing from India. 50% sourcing at least from India. So the vendors have to provide it. If you remember Bosch is one of the auto component provider. We just met with the CEO recently. They have not got the PLI yet. Why? Because 50% of sourcing still they have not done. Once it is done, the PLI will be given to Bosch. And the same thing happens with iPhone also. The government has opened the production linked incentive scheme. They are creating a good tax environment, a stable tax environment. And if your manufacturing sources 50%, then it is good for Indian markets also. The orders are flowing. Elon Musk, so 5 lakh electric cars they are talking about. Let us see. But yes, if this vehicle comes, it will be 45 lakh plus vehicles. So our 30 lakh, 25 lakh electric vehicles from Mahindras, from Tatas, it is not going to be impacted. Right? So that is what also the thought process is there when we are inviting outside people. Indian bond yields, I discussed the current account deficit in India. If you see, we had in September 2022, when the Ukraine war started, commodities started moving up, inflation started moving up, interest rate started moving up. That time we had current account deficit of almost 4.4% negative. But currently, despite there is no major FII money coming in, the current account, because in current account you have this FI number also, the current account has come down to -1%. It's a credible feat actually for the way the things are managed in India right now. If you see the power demand, because post-pandemic we have realized that power demand has started increasing. We are pushing for EVs, charging stations, right? Industrialization, manufacturing, companies are working in couple of shifts, more power requirement. Power has gone, villages are connected with electricity now, 95%, more power requirement. So from where this power will come, right? So the peak power last year was 221 gigawatt, but now, just now, it has crossed 250. Last year it was 221, this year it has crossed 250 gigawatt. By 2030, it may be 450 gigawatt of power requirement. So from where this power will come? So that is where the renewable part is also expanding. And the thermal expansion in India, that is also growing. I will come to that also. So this is a big sector. This used to be a cyclical sector, but it has become a secular sector in India now. The power, the utilities. Domestic tourism. Now you have seen what happened in Ayodhya, Varanasi, Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir economy also grew by double digits. You saw more hotels now are getting started over there. And that is where the domestic tourism is going to pick up now more and more. And this will lead to many sectors blossoming, you know. More travelers are coming from outside. International traveling is increasing. Domestic is increasing. You can see on the airports, there are more new people who are coming now, right? They ask many questions on the security checkup because they don't know. The first timers are coming on airports. There are many poor nations outside India. And because our hospitals have become much better, those people also are coming for their medicals. So medical tourism is also increasing. So airline industry is booming. We have just now crossed 2019 passenger traffic in Indian markets. You have seen what has happened to Indigo, 65% market share, etc., etc. So hotels can come up, airline industry can come up, safaris of the world can come up. So that is where the domestic tourism is something where the focus is there, and that is also something on the domestic front should be looked at. I discuss on this, the government bonds in India, they are already part of JP Morgan index. So this is a big flow into our Indian government bonds. Any economy where bond yields are subdued, it is good for equity markets. Because equity markets drive their cost of capital. कोई भी industry चलनी है तो cost of capital कम होगी तो better है. अब आपकी cost of capital कहाँ से drive होती है? Cost of capital drive होती है bond yield से. अगर bond yield subdued है, अगर आपने उसको open कर दिया, इतना बड़ा पैसा JP Morgan का आ रहा है, तो that means कल equity market के अंदर और आपको broadness देखने को मिलेगी. पहले 10 कंपनी चलती थी, अभी आपको 100, 200, 300 कंपनी चलती भी दिखेंगी because of this feature. And that's why markets are getting more broad. And that is how India is also changing. Lastly, in the improving trends, if you see the weight of India in MSCI emerging market, it has got doubled. It was 9% in 2021. In the last 3 years, now it is 19%. And that is where another thing which is going to happen now, that South Korea, which is part of the emerging market bucket, going forward, it may also go out of this index. So more money flow is expected to come. Now you look at, generally, people say that private capex is not coming. See, when we look at metals, cement, there are very limited companies in those sectors. Basically, top 4 or 5, they are getting the entire maximum capacity, right? But the new money is going into all these sunrise sectors. Electric vehicle. In India in 2021, the market share of India, the penetration of electric vehicles was hardly 1.2%. And currently it has just come closer to 7%, right? If you see the two-wheelers, they are expected to be almost 75-80% EVs. EV, e-scooters or e-bikes by 2030, followed by three-wheelers, and then the passenger vehicles. So the EV is a game changer now, and the only thing that we work upon is the disposable of the batteries, because that can also create some kind of waste pollution. And that's why some companies have come in the recycling of batteries also. So see the thought, first of all, the new EV company which came, the existing companies also are transitioning, and then the recycling companies are also coming so that the same battery can be recycled or reused. So the entire industry is broadening. We are saving the pollution, and we are also expanding the industries, and this way we are creating more jobs. So when we start something, it looks difficult. But once we move forward, you see the benefits coming in. You look at solar. Now the rooftop solar was announced in the last budget. You can use solar panels, you can use the electricity, and you can put it again on the grid. So India's solar capacity currently is 89 gigawatts. But in China, the solar capacity currently is 700 gigawatts. So there is a lot more to achieve in India. And what else you want? Because this is just the sunlight. By the virtue of the God, we have very good sunlight. You look at Rajasthan, such a very hot area. So in Rajasthan, 27 gigawatt of solar power is set up now, and there is lot more chance in many areas to come. You look at Karnataka or Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, it has become an example for wind energy in India. In Tamil Nadu alone, you have the highest windmills in Indian markets. So this is what happening now, coming up. 15 gigawatt capacity is going to be built up in windmills. In windmill, we have total capacity of around 45 gigawatt. If you compare with China, it is almost close to 450 gigawatts. So what the government has started, it is very similar to what happened in China before, no doubt about this. And that is where I think a lot of industries now are going to be benefited, who will become the leader here. Green hydrogen, right? We are seeing that through the electrolysis process, we can create green hydrogen. There is blue hydrogen also, where carbon dioxide is there. Carbon dioxide generally is not good for the atmosphere. So you have CO2, but you absorb CO2 in blue hydrogen. In green hydrogen, you just do electrolysis and you get the H ion. So this is the green hydrogen now, which is going to be used in industries. And all the big guys, Ambani's and all, they are also doing a lot of expansion in green hydrogen. Adani is doing a lot of expansion in green hydrogen. In fact, Adani Green, if you see, it is in solar and wind, but green hydrogen they have in the Adani enterprises. So things are coming up. Green hydrogen, blue hydrogen. If you look at one of the company in Pune, Praj Industries, this company has started getting orders for blue hydrogen technology from North America. Just imagine, a small company in India which has developed the technology like anything, and it has started getting orders from Australia and North America. It is in blue hydrogen. They are also getting orders in compressed biogas. I was in Lucknow recently. I saw that one of the person, he was investing 18 crores in compressed biogas, out of which 11 crore was subsidized by the government. So government is also pushing hard to go for compressed biogas, and this is an answer to your North India pollution problem. In Delhi, in winters, also we used to have a lot of pollution, right? Why? Because in the farming land, and after harvesting, we leave a lot of residue, and that is burnt, that creates pollution. In compressed biogas, they are taking this residue and trying to create gas. And this is where the companies are evolving, the technologies are coming, and we are coming at the forefront in the overall world market. So we were laggard in fossil fuel, but in all these technologies, India is coming at the forefront. Artificial intelligence, so whenever we talk about data centers and semiconductors, we also talk about artificial intelligence, right? It is linked to these two sectors also and separately. You would have heard, you would have seen your own cars. In your own car, previously we used to have 6-7% of softwares. Now we have 26% softwares in our car. And going ahead, this will be 58% contribution in the cars. So softwares means you are creating AI over there. There are companies now which are coming into this business. So far the technology sector in India, it was only servicing, but only with servicing is not going to be enough. You have to create products. You have to come in ER&D business, which is engineering, research and development, which is the KPITs of the world, and so many companies are there now. Electronics, you have seen that how we have, even Lenovo, the Chinese laptop is getting manufactured in Indian markets, right? Mobile phones, laptops. So there is, once you have started the process, there is no end to it. So you are scaling up. The only point is the value addition. Once India starts value addition in this process, you will see we are also moving towards Taiwan, what they have done, and South Korea, what they have done. Because these economies did a lot of value addition and created that kind of margins for them. So India is also on that path. And I think with more technology, more use of local engineers, because our engineers, the brain actually was going outside. But my thought is, it is likely to stay in India now because all these opportunities which are coming in. Green ammonia, for example, diammonium phosphate, or fertilizers. When India used to import the fertilizers in India now they are talking about nano diammonium phosphate. They are talking about nano urea, right? So these are the things which are going to be used here, which will reduce the subsidy burden of the government. So the government had almost 2% of GDP as a subsidy, which is now reduced to 1.2%. So subsidy reduction is also helping the economy now, that you are clearly seeing in the subdued bond yields. So this is something very important for the coming 4-5 years, because the power requirement is increasing. We must understand that only renewables are not going to solve the need, because renewables are running at 25% maximum capacity utilization, but your plant load factor in the thermal projects, thermal power plant, is almost 81%. You can see here, for the last many years, there was no expansion in the thermal power plants, but now it is growing with a 20% CAGR. So there are companies in this domain who are also going to be benefited. This is also emerging sector, as I discussed. This is a secular sector now, which has thermal, which has renewable, and all these stories. Lastly, this is what I discussed in the beginning. If you look at the blue line of India, it had weight of almost 8% only. Now it has gone to 19%. This is MSCI emerging market. And on the contrary, the Chinese weight from 40% plus, it has declined right now to 25%. So there is a absolutely reversal of the trade which has happened, that our weight in MSCI emerging market has increased significantly, which can lead to better flows. So this is all about the sectors, what we think of the emerging sectors, the growth sectors in India, and how the markets are looking at. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.